Yeah, some big congratulations to Anna. It's awesome. She's given birth to a little baby. That's Star Wars baby.
Anna, that Star Wars baby. Wait a minute.
Well, no, that doesn't work. It would be either.
Will the baby become a Star Wars fan though? Because
that's Star Wars baby girl.
Would you do that to your kid now? Introduce them to Star Wars so they can just hate it?
Well, that's the challenging thing now, isn't it? You've got to teach them the difference between Star Wars and Disney Star Wars.
But do you really want to?
If you want to
give
even
that
do that
rage to the child?
No, I don't think you'd do that. What would you give them now? Harry Potter? Even though that's now on the chopping block?
No, because now
kids
they're
usually
changing
tend to just discover their own thing, and you never can kind of regulate it, right? Like I tried getting my kid into the same kind of stuff I was into. It, he just wasn't having it, right? So, I mean, at least that's my experience with it. The kid's going to choose whatever it wants to be into.
It's true. It's actually true. It's like my dad was a massive Trekkie. He's a massive Star Trek fan. And I still gravitated more towards Star Wars than Star Trek. I still enjoy Star Trek, but that's the way that I land, even though he used to watch Star Trek heaps. So you do just gravitate to what you like.
I'm really confused about the Harry Potter thing because wasn't the whole pitch for this it's going to be really close to the books?
Yeah, I tried reminding people that J.K. Rowling is a classic liberal.
Can I ask how involved is she in this?
She's very, because she owns. That's why they're stuck with her, right? Because believe you me, if they could make this without her, they probably would have. Just
okay,
because
but
the
hang
controversy
on. Also,
around her is.
We haven't had any confirmation, but we also haven't had any denial, right?
Yeah, I haven't heard any denial. And the way they're talking, like that show's rolling. I bet you this is real.
People forget that she okayed that cursed child thing where they made Hermione black.
Man, this looks just like Severus Snape.
This is going to be the Captain Planet cast of Harry Potters. Trust me on this one. I've been trying to remind people. People used to despise her before that.
Curtains of black greasy hair. Long black greasy hair.
What was it? What's the other shallow? What swallow skin or something? What is it?
Yeah.
So basically,
I can't remember.
It's a word for pale. Is like how he's described in the books. I'm not a Harry Potter expert. All I've seen are the movies. Like I'm not a huge person into this.
Oh, I've read
the
books
like
a couple of times.
This is such a bad move. Like I think
to me it's a worse move not because of the skin color, but because you grab somebody like who? Like you want somebody with some gravitas. You got somebody who's coming in after Alan Rickman. Right? So that means you gotta nail this shit, right?
Like no disrespect to this guy, but it's like this ain't your role, man. Like why can't I think audiences have proven they don't like race swaps or gender swaps. I know there's a couple hundred people on Twitter that preach about it and love it, but those people aren't your money cows.
When it super changes a character, I think it becomes a massive issue. It's like you look at Holmdo or whatever his name is from like Thor and stuff like that. Not a lot of people give a fuck about that. But like, okay, yeah, maybe we should. But in the same token, it doesn't really affect that character. But like if you would do a Magneto or if you would do a Severus Snape, like there's an issue there because it does directly destroy some of the source material that it's coming from. And, that has been talked about, the whole reason why. What is this going to be? Like a decade-long series or something they're talking about? Harry Potter series? And like... that's huge. And they're apparently this was supposed to like be as close as possible as they could be to the source material, to the books. And like, this is one of the biggest destructions of that. And what? Because of a skin color? It's like, people say, why do you care? It's like, why do they care about changing it?
Yeah, I'm not going to watch a show anyways. I don't care.
Because Hogwarts is so white.
Well, I think there's definitely characters you could have to be black in there. You could make an original character. I mean, that's something you could do. I don't understand why you need to take Snape.
There's already original black and diverse characters in the series. So it's not like they need to. And like I've watched a couple of Ryan's videos and a couple of other people's videos out there and a couple of streams, but like it does reflect the time period. It is the way the books have done it is like perfect for the time period, and the descriptions that they go into in regards to especially a lot of the main characters is very detailed. So if you want to do something that's as close as possible to the books, to the novels, to the source material, then you need to
You know who else is going to
put in
be?
this.
You know who else is going to be black? Hermione.
They're gonna make Ron gay.
guarantee you,
Ron
Hermione's going to be black because she's black in that play.
Do you reckon
No.
they'll make
I'm telling you guys.
What's the name? What's the name of that play?
The Cursed Child. I said it earlier.
I've seen that play. Actually, it's actually pretty good. But
well,
saw it on Broadway.
I'm honestly surprised at this move compared to just making that a movie, like a 2-part movie or a movie, and then jumping off of that into basically like the next generation. Because at this point, this is the only problem I see with this. And this is where George and I were talking about this. This literally before this news dropped the other day was kind of funny. Because he's like, I don't think, you really think people are going to have a big problem with the new Harry Potter show? I said, oh yeah, because it's going to be the Captain Planet cast in the show. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, because people forgot how woke she was and how everybody hated her before she became a TERF. Like, because
people are saying they're going to make Harry trans. That's not going to happen. She's a TERF.
I don't know that they'll do that. But
She's a TERF and has control.
No, but they will all be like different colored.
That's the one group you will not see in the show.
The only white person will probably be Harry Potter, and that's just because it's so iconic in that look.
No, Ron will still be white. I think
Maybe.
Ron
yeah,
will be.
You're right, because he's kind of the
and then
asshole,
they'll make
right?
an issue. They'll make it an issue of like
Hermione is gonna be black like she's
anyway,
in
to
the play.
finish what I was saying is I can't believe they didn't just try to make nice with everybody and do like a Cobra Kai series, and that way you can have as diverse a cast as you want, plus bring back the original actors. Because like, look, I get it, this is a readaptation of the book, but you have an entire generation of people who grew up with these actors and these characters looking the way they did in an entire, probably the most popular series of films in the last 20 years.
It's going to be really bad for Hermione to be black because they're going to be calling her a mudblood.
Yeah, there's other people pointing that out too.
Yeah.
There's other little things like that.
But they're going to introduce racism. So if Snape is going to be black in there, like when he was bullied, I guarantee you that they're going to introduce racism
100%.
into it. We don't want you black wizards around
100%.
here. Get out of here, boy.
Too dark to be a wizard.
You're too dark to be a wizard, Snape.
They end up making the twin brothers gay. Like, those twin brothers.
For each
Fred
other.
and George.
Oh, the brothers, they'll be gay.
They make them gay.
I don't know. Like I said, I have zero, like you guys for the most part have zero interest or invested into the Harry
I've
Potter
got an
series.
interest in it. I actually don't mind it. I've read the books a couple of times and I've watched the movies, obviously.
This is Hogwarts country.
I wouldn't call myself a massive,
this is Hogwarts country, boy.
Super fan or anything like that, but I definitely enjoy it. And if this was going to do something where it was as close as possible to the books, I'd definitely be interested in watching it.
Look, I love when she makes the gender defenders So, I mean, I'm going to stick with JK because no one seems to be able to get them riled up like she does. She gets them riled up so much. It's amazing. All she has to do is sneeze. And the gender defenders, man, they write 500 posts about that sneeze. They take pictures of it, throw fire at it, stab it with knives. It's insane. Like, she gets so much heat, and it's just funny to me.
Well, it's funny that you mention that we're not going to talk about Skeleton Crew, but the people saying that, don't go after the kids, don't go after the kids. It's going to be interesting to see the reactions to this show when those people that are saying don't go after the kids end up going after this show because of J.K. Rowling.
Oh, yeah, they probably will. I feel bad for all those kids. Did you see that the auditions for this? 36,000 kids. Man, I bet you there's a lot of abuse in that pile. Hollywood, man, they're disgusting with children. All the child actors are f***ed up. Look at the one who played, what's her name? That played Hermione.
And she's all sorts of f***ed up.
What's her name? Emma Watson.
Emma Stone.
Emma Watson. She's all f***ed up. She's like non-binary now and says she's married to herself and all this shit.
And completely she's vegan as well too, I think, and she looks at.
I'll take diddled for 100, Alex.
I would never. I said something. Pray for those kids, and it's like, somebody was like, they're going to make so much money they'll be set for life, and it's like, well, is money everything? I would rather have my kid not up in the head and broken from Hollywood abuse.
Well, and the other stupid thing about these quote unquote open casting calls, they're really redonkulous usually, and they generally never actually find anybody this way, which makes them even weirder when you think about it. Because it's almost like every time they pick somebody who's already been in the industry for a while. I mean, it's so stupid. Just like the Karate Kid one they had recently, they're like, we're doing an open casting call across the nation. And in the small writing, they said that we're only casting an Asian kid. So don't tell me they didn't already have a good idea of the 5 kids they were looking at already. This whole other thing, and Script Doctor and others have said this, it's just kind of charade or whatever you want to call it that the industry does to just kind of make it look like they're having this open casting call thing for, anybody and everybody. But you don't get into this shit unless you have an agent and you've already done some things. Like, even look at Phantom Menace. Like, they made it like a big deal. Like, they searched through all these kids. Not really. The top 4 or 5 kids are kids that were already in the industry. Jake Lloyd had already been in like 2-3 movies. He was in the Schwarzenegger movie and shit.
I find the quote from the media. I find the quote from the media over this funny, like this from the Daily Mail. Harry Potter trolls are not thrilled with the casting of Severus Snape, which they call woke. It is woke.
It is. It's
fucking,
exactly
in the
what
books,
it is.
he's described as a white dude.
It's exactly what
it is woke. And it's trolls, not like people that love the franchise and just want to see it done right.
This is intentional, like, naivety. Like,
Now,
they just blind. They choose to be completely naive and blind to the fact that is exactly what it is. And
they've already been running.
Like,
they've already been running to the usual defense. Oh, you're just racist.
It's the same thing, though,
Just
about
racist.
the Wicked thing. The Wicked poster change and everything. It's like, go after the fans more. Just keep going after those fans.
Did you see them going after Blabbling Collector? Blabs?
Yeah.
Calling her racist and shit. People were posting on her thing. First time. Welcome to the club.
And
here's the thing: is if like, okay, let's
say she's, if not the biggest,
she's huge
Harry Potter fan I know.
Yeah.
Let's say for the sake of argument that all of a sudden out of nowhere, like Denzel Washington's like, my grandkids are huge Harry Potter fans. I want to be a part of this. If you said Denzel Washington was playing Snape, then I could be like, okay, I can kind of see that, even though you're going against the race thing. He's somebody who has the gravitas and the, like, you know he could pull it off. Exactly. He's a presence, right? But like at the end of the day, I'm like, was Mad Mikkelsen too busy? Like, is Cumberbatch too busy? Like, what are you doing here? You are recasting the role, probably the most iconic role in the entire franchise, right? This is one of the roles that Alan Rickman was known for. And he was one of the most beloved actors in Hollywood. And you're casting this guy to fill his role? I feel sorry for the guy.
Blabs is the entire reason I read the books. She even got me to read the Quidditch World Cup book, which is insanely good, I must admit. But anyway, go on.
Welcome to the party, Blabs. There's nothing like waking up, checking my YouTube, and being called a racist clown and a bigot for not liking a lazy, unoriginal, and racist race swap.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up, and the replies are funny. Like this one. First time. Welcome to the party, pal.
And everybody's picking on me for picking Denzel. Look, he was just the easiest one I could pick where most people wouldn't argue with him. He's
Denzel,
like, how many people have you heard people say, I can't stand Denzel Washington?
Samuel L. Jackson doing that.
No, Denzel's not
okay,
that good
Idris
of an actor.
Elba. Idris Elba then. Okay, there
Idris
you go.
Elba's a better actor than Denzel.
Oh,
I like Denzel.
In Skeleton Crew, actually.
I think Denzel's fun, and I like him, but to be honest, every part is just Denzel Washington. Like it's not.
I'm not arguing that point.
He has very limited range. He would be an awful Snape.
I was just trying to find an example, right?
But
like
he would be. But he's an awful Snape. He has no range. No range.
Or like, it's just the point is like I never had an issue with the race swapping thing until it became this issue, right? Because, for instance, one of the only things I didn't hate about Man of Steel was you had Morpheus, what's his face, playing Perry White. And I'm like, okay. And they didn't make a big deal out of him being black, right? It had nothing to do with the role. But then you jump, and I know you're going to hate this, Flash, but, to the Batman a couple of years back here.
Oh, God.
But seriously, I'm watching the movie, and I'm going, wait a minute. is the only reason you made Gordon black is so he could be a good guy, because everybody else around him is so corrupt. Every white person's bad in this movie. You literally have the scene where they're telling him to do better, and it has this big BLM kind of message behind it and shit. And I'm like, you even made the Waynes idiots and assholes and degenerates, and you made, like Alfred an asshole for not telling Bruce about his family and shit. So like this whole thing kind of dawned on me. I'm like, okay, so is that why you made him black? And that's what I'm talking about. Even in the cases where it feels like it's not such like a race swap, and you actually get somebody who could handle the role, even then it starts to feel like, wait a minute, you just did this just so you could have a black person here. And that's what it's getting to. That's the problem.
Let me get the super chat from Mr. Alex 789 for 20. He says, just wanting opinions if possible, if they are aware Japan has been legislating against nuisance streamers due to Johnny, countries like South Korea, Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and etc. are looking at following. Good.
I
They
don't
should.
blame them.
JT's
I don't
in the
blame
back.
them.
I got him.
After what he did, I don't blame him.
Let's give him an intro here.
Back to the kitchen.
It's amazing. How's everyone doing tonight?
Hey,
What's up, buddy?
Hey, JT.
I was just talking about that lazy race swap and Harry Potter.
for
Yeah.
Snape.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god!
just got to say something. Low-level enforcers out there, I'm convinced Tom is never everybody. You know what's funny is if I'm not here, Flash is blowing up my phone. Are you coming? We'll find
Yeah,
something to talk about. Trust
Yeah.
me.
I do. Tom's a good wingman. I like having him on here. The haters.
I'm consistent.
Yep.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, I was gonna stream myself, but I was like, man, I haven't joined you for so long. I felt bad, and I really appreciate having the invite. So I definitely want to at least spend some time here with you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Love having you.
So how do you feel about a Snape race swap?
I think it's
A
ridiculous. I think
Snape swap.
it's
Snape swap?
I almost my
Snape
take on it
swap.
is I feel like
Yeah.
they do it just to get attention and get people talking about it so that people will tune in just to see it. But that doesn't carry a show. So maybe it's just for the initial viewership and they can try to sell that to viewers and numbers and ads and subscriptions, whatever they're doing with it. But long term, the story carries it. So I feel like they're doing all these things to inject reasons for people to come watch because it's different instead of just doing the right thing and making it the way people want it to be and making good story. But they're not talented to do stories, so we already know that. So yeah.
Yeah, they're
Well,
not.
they've got already the story there with Harry Potter. That's the thing. They've got the story
Right,
there, and they've
right.
already talked about how they're going to adapt that actual story and be as close to the books as possible. This is the crazy thing about it, is that's what they've talked about.
But
That's
that's
the
not
whole
what they're
purpose
doing.
of the show.
That's my point. That's not what they're doing. Like
Insane.
the books even define him like that he's white. So they're not sticking as close to the books.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
curious of-
described as I don't remember the word used to describe him, but
It's like
basically it means
sour
pale.
milk or something.
Yeah, it's like it means pale.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
curious why we haven't got a confirmation or a denial yet. Like, surely they've got to make some kind of statement about this with
Because
how
these
people
kind
are
of things
talking about it.
sometimes are just testing. Like when they put these things out there, sometimes it's a leak in quotations, just to kind of test and see how they're reacted to.
Good point,
So-
because they didn't actually sign him yet, right? It was just they're thinking of signing him.
No,
Some
and
people are
they've done
so-
this shit before.
Some people are so mad about my Denzel Washington take. Look, he's a good actor. He just
You're
doesn't
not
have
wrong,
a lot of
Flash.
range.
In most cases, he does generally play
He
himself.
kind of plays
So hang on a second. I've got a
How-
question.
How old is he?
Denzel Washington.
He's like
Yeah,
60
isn't he, like,
something.
60
He's in
now?
his
He
60s.
did
Yeah.
way too, too
He's
old
a
to
good
play.
actor. I just said he doesn't have a lot of
When's the
range.
last movie
He's
been
got a
in?
lot of
I don't even
range.
know he
I
looks
don't think so. He kind of plays the same character in every movie.
I think you're saying, and look, in Flash's defense, he's saying that because we haven't seen Denzel play a lot of bad guys. Like, that's the other problem in this more recent Gladiator movie. That's what he's doing.
Mhm.
And that's kind of why I brought him up in that case. I'm like, okay, somebody who's, been around, everybody likes him, and he hasn't played a lot of bad guys. And I mean, Snape is not exactly a bad guy per se, but he's got that, just kind of like,
you
So
want to
I've got a
know? You want to
question.
know
I've got a
who's?
question.
Hold on a second. You want to know a really good actor, like who I would put up there with one of the best in the history of movies? It'd be like someone like Daniel Day-Lewis. That guy can play anything.
Yeah,
Denzel
that's special though.
does not have that kind of range.
Well, that's because if Daniel Day-Lewis decided he's going to play a suitcase, would lop off his arms and legs, okay, but that's
Daniel Day-Lewis is like rarefied air.
That dude
yeah, exactly.
is amazing. And I'm not, there's a lot of people that are good and held up there. Like
if Daniel Day-Lewis is going to be in Harry Potter, he would learn how to do magic, and he would actually be an actual wizard.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Let me ask this question. So let's say this thing is one of those test things that they throw out there, right, to see what the reaction is and everything like that. And it turns out that it's not true at all, and they've actually cast the role really, really accurately and really, really well in the end. What then does the reaction become from these people that have called out Blabs and called her a racist and all of this kind of thing for her, because she wants the lore and the canon and the continuity of her favorite franchise to stay honorable to the source material? What then happens to those people? Absolutely nothing, right? It fades into the ether. But it's like, it's so like.
But you're such a summer child if you think they really aren't going to do this, dude.
Should
like,
they go after the studio for being racist and like?
They're 100% gonna cast that dude, and I guarantee you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I mean, I would love to live in that world where they do something like that, but again, I try to remind people this is not going to happen. Even if Warner Brothers wanted it that way, like she has more control over this thing than anybody, as far as I know. So. Because didn't she have a lot of say in the original films too, as far as the casting goes?
She has total creative control over anything. She owns Harry Potter.
Yeah,
like that's her. Like she's smart and didn't sell it away. Like she owns Harry Potter, and like Warner has, exclusive rights to shit. But that could expire.
They've licensed it off her,
and it could go elsewhere. Yeah, they've licensed it.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why they're doing this show. Because I'm trying to remember when was the last film, like 2014. Somewhere in there. So yeah, they're getting up on that part where it's usually 8 to 10 years is what the length is. If you don't do something with these properties, then they usually go bye-bye.